attempted to trace them back to their IP, only they'd gone through several servers. And by the time he did locate the originating IP, he cursed even more. Random computer terminal in a cyber cafe in Japan. Not likely. Weird. He didn't like weird, nor did he believe in coincidences, so he locked down his computer again and pushed away from his desk, rising and heading for the door. Something like this didn't happen randomly, considering the other new things here at the kennels. There was Atlas's arrival and the circumstances around it, Miss Jones arriving to insist on working with Atlas. Then this. Atlas's handler had died for a reason. One Cruz was still looking for. Apparently there were other people looking for it too. "You headed out?" Forte passed him in the hallway. The owner of Hope's Crossing Kennels must have been breaking for lunch after a morning of teaching basic obedience classes. "Yeah, we've had a security issue. No physical incursion, just a minor blip on the network. Secured now, but I want to follow a hunch." Cruz didn't linger. Forte called after him. "Let us know if you need us." "Will do." He and Forte had served together overseas. They'd gone out with less information in the past. Likely Forte would want answers later, but it was good to be with people who wouldn't hold him up with questions when he was on the move. Cruz crossed the front parking lot and headed for the private drive where his car was parked alongside the other trainers' vehicles. On his way, he glanced at the front drive and what could be seen of the trees lining the perimeter of the extensive property. His security wasn't just computer system-based. He'd designed it all, from the access to any of the buildings to the kennels to the perimeter of the grounds they were built on. It had been designed to maintain privacy in a civilian area, but easily upgradable if there was need. And they'd never had multiple nibbles until today. There was only one new person, unexpected and unannounced, who'd shown up recently, and she'd been there this very morning. He entered the address to her hotel on his smartphone and set the GPS to direct him there. Her attitude had been one thing, but her threat about calling her backers in the Pentagon? Maybe she was more than a simple civilian dog trainer. And maybe her interest in Atlas had grown from more than just the news coverage about his situation. A man developed hyper-awareness to survive overseas, and there was a fuzzy line between hyper-awareness and paranoia. Miss Jones arriving the way she had and hinting at high-ranking backing hadn't just gotten under his skin. Something was off. Time to seek her out and ask a few pointed questions about her reasons for wanting to work with Atlas. And if any of her answers came across the slightest bit shady, she was out. Hell, he was tempted to keep her out of it based on his doubts here and now. In his experience, any doubt whatsoever could mean the difference between success and failure. Coming home alive and not. Atlas's handler hadn't come home, and the circumstances around it were enough to make Cruz proceed with extreme caution. He'd suffered a momentary weakness in telling her she could work with him on Atlas. Seeing her face soften when she'd gotten near the dogs, the way all her walls came down the minute Atlas was in her arms, had made Cruz think she really had come to help the dog. But if the incursion on their network had been her, she must have gone straight back to her hotel and jumped online to start hacking into their system. And she was good, too, if she could make it look like she'd done it from the other side of the world. Well, he recognized her for what she was, and he would be damned if he was going to wait until tomorrow morning to call her on it.
Lynn wiped sweat from her brow as she exited the elevator. She'd spent more time on the elliptical than normal, trying to outrun her thoughts on Atlas and her impressions of David Cruz. There was a lot to process from what she'd seen today. It didn't seem as if there'd be enough time to do the follow-up research she had planned before calling it a night. Through it all, she was sure she was missing something important about him. It was the kind of important that could eat away at a person and cause insomnia. The only cure she had for it was to burn off the anxiety eating her up and clear her head to track down the useful bits of information. Thus the visit to the hotel gym. Bleh. So now her legs were about as useful as limp noodles, and she wasn't sure she was even walking a straight line down the hallway back to her